Welcome to the Healing Time podcast. Tonight we have a special guest with us, Mr. Salieu Puye from the Gambia. And there's a song out there. It says, "I've waited my whole life for this one night. Double your pleasure, double your fun." So tonight we're going to double our knowledge and add years to our life. And so I must say, I feel as if I'm seated in the presence of greatness, and you'll find out more about our special guest and why I'm saying that. And so thank you, Mr. Puye, for agreeing to join us tonight for this podcast. Viewers, a little bit about your background.
Well, thank you so much. I am also very much pleased to have met somebody like you who is interested in exactly what I am doing. And through my able and lovely son, who have made all the connections, to be quite honest. Right? Well, I am a teacher, a trained teacher by profession, and then double up to be a herbalist.
Mm-hmm.
And I am still teaching most of the diasporans here as a herbalist. And I love what I am doing. And I have got a lot of experience in rural Gambia, where you have the real Gambian people, the real cultural people who are in the rural Gambia. So I am, in fact, very much pleased to share what I have for this very evening today, so that at least we'll be able to share this noble knowledge and then add it up to our own healing practices. Right.
Wonderful. So thank you for agreeing to join us here on Healing Time. And if viewers are not familiar with my background, I am a nurse doctor, and I've been practicing in the United States for a few years. I have, studied nursing. I've studied pharmacology. I've studied in the medical field. I've studied, a lot of things. And none of it, means anything to me. The one thing that I am attracted to, that I do appreciate, that has a lot of meaning, is herbal products and what they can do for me. I feel that it's a natural type of healing. I feel the things that I've studied, it's more artificial. And so I'm more attracted to the natural side of things, okay? And what that can offer as far as, making my life better. And so I wanted to share a lot of what I've discovered and what as well, for our viewers, so they can also plug in to a lot of things that, can benefit them. So when we spoke a few days ago, I mentioned that, I did come to the Gambia because I wasn't feeling well. And, in spite of prescribing different medications for my patients, it's not something I would take. Okay. I wouldn't take a lot of those medications that I'm pretty much told to order for people. So instead of taking medication, I got on a plane, came to the Gambia, and I was able to meet people, especially the men in the Gambia. They give you the royal treatment. They help you to, feel better, get what you need. And this is where my journey began, to getting better, feeling better, and recovering. So that's why it's so important for us to talk about a lot of the things that that you consider to be valuable for our community, as far as herbal products and, herbal healing. We also talked about the fact that there are a lot of people that I saw in the Gambia that had amputations, that had a lot of health issues. And I want you to explain to our viewers um, what what's the cause of that. That was very alarming to me. What causes these types of issues in the population in the Gambia?
Thank you so much for complimenting the men of the Gambia. I'm very much proud of that to start with. And also, I'm very much proud that you said that you came to the Gambia, and then I'm sure before you went back, you must have been healed, or you must have taken some of the nice teas, nice herbs that would have done something. Well,
Yes.
coming to your question, for most of the amputations that we have is mainly these diabetic patients in the Gambia. Most of them, they end up being amputated either of the limbs, whether it's the hand or it's the foot, is because of our diets. Our eating habits must be changed, right? Because diabetics, of course, could be termed as a hereditary problem. In most cases, you can inherit these things from the genes of your parents, and then you take it up. But knowing what you should eat, having your better diet, and you're controlling the food that you eat might be able to save you also a lot. In the Gambia, most of our people, they eat a lot of sugar. They eat also a lot of fat, this butter, this margarine butter, this mayonnaise, this fat oil, and lot of chicken here and there. Chickens that are all with fat. And then you see yourself getting fatter, then you think you are getting healthier, but it's the reverse. So most of those wounds that have been amputated one way or the other have been septic because of the diabetic, or they have been septic because of certain what would I say, certain unhygienic conditions that their patients have already undergone. So as a result of that, a septic wound and get more infested, that is better to be amputated before it infects the whole system. So in essence, this is what I want to say, and I hope with all these things that we are doing and myself, then people are learning to change their way of life. People are learning to change their ways of eating habits, and then I think in future we'll be able to correct all those bad behaviors or bad lifestyles, as I would call it. Thank you.
You have 30 years of experience working in the community, teaching Gambians in the rural areas, and helping women and the elderly and the youth. Um, you have also served as a governor for 8 years in the Gambia. You are also part of the West African Health Organization. Tell us a little bit about those two uh, organizations.
Organization. Thank you very much. So the Traditional Healers Assembly of the Gambia, we call it TRAHAS in short. We deem it necessary to have an umbrella organization that will oversee all the healers in these countries. For what? To be able to help them standardize what they are doing. To be able to help them educate more on what they are doing. To be able to help them understand the ethics of healing. Right? Because in any profession there are ethics. So this is why the organization was formed in 2009 with the help of the Ministry of Health in this country. Because first of all, we did a structural analysis of traditional medicine in this country. And after the analysis was done, we found it necessary that we have to come with an umbrella organization under the Ministry of Health, where we'll be able to recruit or register all the people that are healing in this country under one umbrella so that we will be supervising them, educating them, and then helping them to understand what they are doing. Of course, culturally, they know what they are doing, but in this modern age, we need to standardize certain things, and we are living in a global world, joining with other healers of the world. So, therefore, we have one thing in common because WAHU had been formed to supervise all traditional medicine practices in West Africa. This is why we call it West African Health Organization. All the West African countries in West Africa here, Gambia, Sierra Leone, Ghana, including the Gambia, up to 15 countries belongs to that organization. And each of their ministers, health ministers, are also part of that organization, so that we are working to make sure that we expand and then control and at the same time standardize all the healing practices within this country, so that every year we converge in one country, have our conferences, each country come up with their problems, and then at the end of the day, we have a resolution for the whole region. So West Africa, we are moving. We are moving because with this organization, we are able to make books, standard books. The first book that was done was in 2013. This book is telling us about the herbs, and we know their historical background, their chemistry, their biology, their therapeutic action, therapeutic indications. We know their dosages, their counter indications, their precautions to use, and adverse effects in each of the herbs that are mentioned in the book. In so doing, then it means we are teaching the healers themselves, we are teaching the population as a whole, so that they know how to use this herb. Because if we say that this is a moringa,
Right.
this moringa, everybody knows that this is a moringa, but you should know how to use it, what are the best way of using it, and then we know what it has. That is the therapeutic actions that it has, the therapeutic indication that it has, so that we will better use it as a health, thing. So this is the link between the two organizations. Thank you so much.
Okay. So before we, talk more about the herbs, we know that sugar can be it has a pernicious effect on people that they don't probably realize because it tastes so good, but it's not your friend. It's like having a fake friend. You ever have a fake friend where, you think they're nice, but then you realize they're really bad people? And this is what sugar is. It seems so nice, but it will destroy your life, too much of it. One soda, we know that's also it has a pernicious effect where you don't realize how bad it's, ruining your health. Okay. One can of soda has maybe 3 times the amount of recommended sugar for the day, right? So, what has your organization, and you've told me about the oil as well. They cook with a lot of oil, which clogs your arteries. It doesn't matter what oil you're using. Even olive oil has that potential, right? So, what has your organization and the health ministry in the Gambia, uh, have created to educate uh, the Gambians and people in the community there?
Thank you. I'm very happy to hear about that. So, first of all, let me say that we are living in a global world which is influenced with a lot of activities coming up from the West. We also know that we have been schooled and colonized. So we have been colonized and schooled by the doctrines of the West, and most of them are also using us as a dump, I would say, for most of their unwanted products. I have to be bold enough to say that. Before the advent of the people coming here, we were using our peanut oil. We were using our this thing, how to call it, our palm kernel oil. We were using our cotton oil. We were using also our palm oil. But because of capitalism, I'll come straight to the thing. Most of the trading that is being done with the ex-colonial countries is to make sure they dominate their trade in the first instance, right? Because the productive base of our economy in this country is not being nurtured, it's not being exploited. So this is why most of the things that are coming, though we have the resources, are coming from the West. So this is why the sugar, the white sugar, is too much in this country in the name of what? Democracy, in the name of what? Free enterprise economic system that is engendered by the West. So they have saturated all our markets with this white sugar, this white flour, and then these fatty oils with a lot of chicken in this country. As to what the ministry is doing, virtually nothing. Why? Because they are representing those Western countries. Remember, most of them have been schooled by the West, and they are here to promote what the West have for us.
Right.
But on the reverse, we as healers, we are taking the other way around because we know the implications, right? We are, for myself, I am associating myself with some vegans. I have some vegans here, and then we normally go to the radio, have some programs about healthy eating, discouraging about too much sugar, too much oil, and all these things. And of course, telling them what to use after they leave this other one, what they should use, right? So I am doing that in my meetings with all my healers. We have different forums in the radios, in the TVs. We have our meetings, our workshops, and individually the students that are coming to me, I am also sharing all these ideas with them. So this is what we are doing to discourage what is happening. We all know that sugar is helping cancer to grow in your system. We all know that. But that is not written in the bags of the sugar. So I'm advocating that as they do in smoking, that smoking kills. Please let them also be writing this thing in the bags of their sugars, that sugar also kills. Unless and until this is done, then it means that they are jeopardizing the life of the Gambian people or the life of the people within the so-called third world country, as they already branded us as third world, but we were the fourth world anyway.
Right.
Before.
We're going back to origin. We're going back. No matter which way you go, you're going to end up back. This is where my journey led me. We have to get the message out that, just because whatever glitters is not gold, okay? Just because it tastes good, it looks good, that doesn't mean it's good for you. I've had that experience myself where I, had a bottle of wine. I paid $100 for it, and the next day I didn't feel so good. So I had to say to myself, why would I pay people to make me feel bad? So at that point, I was having what they call agency, okay, which is to know that I need to be able to be in control of certain things that I'm doing, and I need to know the consequences if I don't. That's having agency. So this is where we are today with helping our community. We have to let everyone know you have to have agency, okay? Know that you have to control certain behaviors, certain desires, and know the consequences of it if you don't, okay? So our special guest, Mr. Puye, Uh, he's an incredible um, person to me because he has achieved so much, and I feel Mr. Puye is an overachiever. He is an ex-governor, he's a teacher, a father, a trainer, a herbalist, a healer. um, Tell us why, Mr. Puye, you have achieved so much. What was your motivation? Tell us why. Tell us your motivation to achieving all of these things that you, and a social worker. I forgot that you are a social worker, ex-governor, trainer, healer, father. What motivated you to achieving all of these things?
Thank you so much. When I grew up, I was brought up in a society which my auntie was the one who brought me up, and I struggled to make my life. I was not born in a silver spoon in my mouth. I was not born with parents who has the money to sponsor me in all of my activities. So therefore, I struggle to do things on my own. Right? So I struggled to be at the college, Gambia College of Education, and then when I was there, I was a good psychology student. I was a good sociology student. In essence, I was a very good art student because I had very good marks in history. So that has motivated me to know more about what happened in the past and then to be able to prepare for something better for the present. Right? So because of that, I started joining organizations, right? Building up, a lot of organizations coming up, organizing, and then doing so many things. So this is what motivated me in short. Then later on, when I finished my education, I was posted in rural Gambia, and there also knowing and seeing the real situation of the Gambian people, then I moved towards sparing all my time in organizing with the people, at least to seek for a better life of Gambian people. So this is what motivated me.
So if someone's not in the Gambia, how can they, get the information from you? Do you offer any programs?
What I offer online classes. The cost is about 3 months, and then we have 2 sessions every week. And then I always give them digital books, right? And we're giving them assignments, and then we're having sessions with them. This is what we normally do up to the end of the lessons, and then some of them, if they have the chance of coming in the Gambia, then we go around the bush, then seeing the plants, and then having some practicals, right? Making oils. At this moment right now, I have started making oil. This oil is the castor oil for the first time in Gambian history for people to start making castor oil, because I have seen the castor not being used by people. It will just have some seeds, wither away, and then get perished. This year round, I have a small pressing machine. I started doing it, and now there I am. I'm able to make it. And I'm also able to make moringa oil from this moringa, which is an organic one. No chemical fertilizer from this moringa, right? And now I am making the oil, and all these things can be done through online classes. And then if you are here in the Gambia, then we can do some of the practicals. If you are down there, I can give you instruction as to what you can do to make something like garlic oil, how you can make it whilst you are there. aloe vera oil, how you can make it down there, things like that.
Well, my all-time favorite is moringa. I just discovered that last year. I didn't know it was more than just a tea. And now I realize there's moringa oil that can help with hair growth, helps you sleep good. It's good for a lot of different things.
Hmm.
The skin or the bark helps to fight skin infections. There's so many uses for different parts of the moringa. So tell the viewers the value of moringa and the reasons, the benefits of it.
So basically, the moringa, let's start from the leaves. Since I was a child up to now, this leaf in the Gambia, we use it as food because you can make it into soup. You can also make it into powder, you see. And this powder, you can put it in your smoothies. You can put it in your tea. You can put it in your rui. Rui is another thing like smoothie. That is what we call porridge. So this leaf, you can also cook it, put it in your tea, and what have you. Then you see this pot here has some seeds. You all see these seeds here, right? These seeds is what you can use to have your oil. So moringa itself, to summarize it, is can be good for diabetes. It can be good for sugar level. It can be good for cholesterol level. It can be good to build your immune system.
Mhm.
So all these four in any plant makes the plant perfect. So this is why we call it cure for all.
That's what
Cure
I
for
love.
all.
Yeah, that's what I love about African herbs and herbalists. They have a really nice name, a positive name for all of these herbs. It's like you really want to try it because it's the miracle tree. It's the never die tree. It's all these so you want to try it. Um yeah, moringa is I think uh the number one thing about moringa is helps diabetics. So why don't we suggest that people who are drinking a lot of tea, with a lot of white sugar in it, because they do drink a lot of tea during the day in the Gambia, and they're pouring all this sugar in their tea. Why don't we drink more moringa to lower the blood sugar?
Yeah. So all these things is possible. But as I said, remember that we have been indoctrinated. Let me quote Bob Marley, right? Bob Marley said that, you know, uh, we have been indoctrinated because of Western propaganda. And then he also said of brainwash education. So right now, most of the people are so much used to sugar, that sweet thing, as their friend, but an enemy for them. So much so that even to drink a cup of tea without sugar is a big problem for many people. I am drinking tea without sugar now, and then I am also promoting it to other people to do that. Even this moringa you see, these seeds, if you make it into powder and then put it in your tea, it gives you nice taste. If you chew it and then drink water, you feel the sugar in it as well. But how many of the Gambian people will do this thing now? It will take time because of the indoctrinator propaganda. Let us not forget that. It's very good that you are having some of these programs and it's going viral. People will be seeing it. And I am also having some meetings, some conferences, radio programs, TV programs, and then teaching some other people. Of course, we are now also countering that indoctrinated propaganda so that the people will change, actually.
Yeah, that's what's That's what it's going to take, definitely. So, wow. I'm, you know, I'm really fortunate, and I'm sure my viewers can also attest to the fact that, this is a good beginning to understanding um, the the natural um, products, the natural things that our planet has, that we don't have to, follow the Western agenda anymore. Okay. Because a lot of what they're using, it's made from, natural products, and they create something that is unnatural with it. So why don't we just, use uh, what we know works, um, and what God has given us
Yeah,
to.
example, the honey. Real honey is here. People are using it now instead of sugar. I can also remember when I was small kid. By then, our people know no sugar. All that they know is this pure honey. You go to the hive, get the honey from there, and then use it. You use your sugar in your porridge. You use your sugar with tea. You know. Now in America, I know that some people are using the agave, right? Some of them are using the agave. You see, some are using the stevia, right? But the agave and the stevia, we are trying to grow it here, but it's not going to be now, right? All that we have now is the honey that we have in this place in substitute for sugar. Yes, some will tell you that you can take brown sugar is better than white sugar, but sugar is sugar. Sugar is sugar. It makes no difference.
So tell us the top 5 herbs.
Good. I'm happy to say to hear that. First of all, the famous moringa, number 1. Right? We will be talking about that. We will also be talking about the baobab, or what we call the baobab, one of the most greatest plants of Africa. A lot of potential in terms of nutrition, in terms of economic gain. That's number 2. Number 3, we'll be talking about the Senna occidentalis. The Senna occidentalis, that's the one. You have these pods which can be made into coffee. That's the coffee here. I call it the Gambian coffee, right? Here, you see it here, the Gambian coffee. That's the number 3. Then we will talk about number 4. That's the fagara. Fagara is a root, and it's a very powerful plant because it can do a lot of things, including aiding you in sickle cell crisis, right? And then the last and not the least one that we will be talking about is going to be it's also part of the Senas. I think it's also part of the Sena. So all of them are already in the presentation format, and they will know the scientific names. They will know the plant material of interest. They will know the ethnomedicinal. But when we say ethnomedicinal, that is how our ethnic people were using it before the advent of this modern age, right? And then later we'll be comparing that with what we have now. Then we will talk about the therapeutic actions. When we talk about the therapeutic actions here, we mean the properties that these plants have. Each plant has a certain things that it can do. Some of them are analgesic. Some of them are laxative, right? Some of them, some of them, uh, some of them are what would I say? They are homeostatic. See, they have a lot of qualities. So those qualities also will be informed, and then you will know also what they can be used for. Then you will know how to use them in their dosage forms and dosage, you know, uh, ratios, right? Then you will know what are their precautions for use, what are their side effects, and what are their contraindications.
Yeah.
Then from there, then people will come up with their doubts as questions here and there. But this is exactly how I plan everything today.
Okay, so I want to invite you back for a second interview, Dr. Puye,
Yeah,
because we have a lot to cover and, we don't have a lot of time today. So, would you be so kind to, join us again for another podcast so that we can, you know, um, demonstrate some of what you just said to our viewers?
of course, I'll be more than ready to do that because hence I am advocating for uh, this natural medicine, and I have an avenue. This I will call it also a blessing in disguise for me. One, to satisfy your program and to satisfy myself also with the dream and the ambition that I have to spread the knowledge of herbalism. And then two, also for people to know what I am doing and those that are interested in what I am doing to have the connection on to me. So I'll be more than ready to do
Right. And
more of these things.
hopefully when we meet again, we could talk a little more about herbs that could help with mental health. I don't think we were able to
Yeah,
discuss.
yeah. All that are within our purview. In the Gambia here, we have some of our healers who are specialized on mental health. And whenever you come back here, you will go to the provinces and you will be amazed. We have natural herbs that they use to cure their psychiatric, patients, right?
So why
Do
do
you know?
we hear reports about Ghana, tying people to a tree if they have mental illness? Meanwhile, in India, they're using ashwagandha for schizophrenia symptoms, the negative
No,
symptoms.
ashwagandha is a general herb that is very good for many things, right? For debility, right? You know, we also have herbs here like the Momodica charantia. It's a local herb which is good for senile debility, you know, and all sorts of, mental issues that people can be used. We also have other herbs that are in the forest here that are used for that, for many other things, because herbs, the reason why herbs can do a lot of things because they have a lot of compounds in them. You are a nurse, you know what I'm talking about. This is why the West sometimes they are so much in a problem because they will tell you that this herb can do this, it can do this, it can do this, it can do that, and they are amazed. They should not be amazed because one herb is packed with a lot of compounds, and each of those compounds are destined to do something in the body.
Well, I can't wait to hear more about, these specific herbs. And hopefully, like I said, we can also talk more about ones that can help with mental health because a lot of people, are having more issues because of the state of our society today.
Yeah. When it comes to mental health, herbs are used, but in most cases, it is more psychological because of the pressures that they got in society that leads them to frustration, and those frustration in most cases is what gives them this mental health. To stabilize them, you will need herbs, but you will also need some psychosocial therapy that will be able to at least uplift their standards, socializing them in society. Most of them, if you go, it's just neglect.
Right. They
They
need more
just
support.
neglect them. Yeah. Yeah.
more
So
support.
and then associate them in society, give them good nourishment, and then associate it with them, and then they eat better food, and they're there.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
that's what they do in the Gambia. They have this brotherhood. They have this, care for humanity, you know, but other places need to adopt this. This is what they're missing. So what you just said is what a lot of people are looking for. And that's what I was looking for. And for some reason, I was led to come to the Gambia. I met Mr. Gambia, who healed me. Uh, Shout out to Bakri Tal in Germany, who's making his way back to the Gambia. But we have so much more to discuss. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to, learn.
Yeah, so yeah, what I want is for your technician to arrange those herbs I give.
Right.
Yeah, they are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then make sure that they are in presentation form as I did it. Then in the next lesson, then that would be very much interesting for the viewers. We will share the screen, and then I'll be dilating on them. And at the end of the day, people will come up with their questions, and their doubts, and then it's going to be a very great lesson. And in most cases, many people, their conditions also is because of the condition in which they are living. Of course, there are inborn. Some people are born with mental retardation, right? Mental retardation. We all understand that. But others, they got it alongside because of frustration in society. Right.
Well, we'll leave it there for tonight, Dr. Puye. Thank you so much.
Well, anyway, I was expecting more. But hence, this is the end. Then we will close the curtains, and then you prepare for the next one, where we will come proper to unveil, the presentation that is already been prepared, and then people will get to know more, because then it will be more standardized, right, in the form of the presentation, so that people will know that we have gone far now. We have gone far now. We are not at the old stage where we always do guessing. We are not guessing now. That is what we call in Wolof. You ask Mr. Tal, Lambatu. There is no Lambatu. Everything is there.
Remember,
No
the
Lambatu.
word for today, lambato. Okay, and that means, tell us, Dr. Puye, lambato means no
Lambatu means no guessing.
no
No
guess.
guessing. Things are standardized and exact to the point, right? What I mean by this is that if we say moringa, we know the properties of moringa, we know how to administer moringa. It's not a matter of guessing, right? When we talk about, Senna occidentalis, we know that Senna occidentalis is this, and occidentalis, these are the properties, and these are the dosages, and about in that. This is what I mean. There is no guessing. All that we are doing is standardized and is exact to the point.
Thank you for sharing all of that with us. And that brings us to the end of our podcast, folks. So join us again for the next podcast, where we're going to share more about the different herbs and, the benefits and proper ways to use them. I want to thank you again, Dr. Puye, for joining us tonight. And we'll see you back here again soon.